know if this is going to work.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I think the camera quality is better than it was.
Yeah, and this is going to be public. So...
Well, there you go.
All right. I don't know if anybody's going to end up seeing this. So our MiFi just completely died. Verizon won't come back.
Right.
I hate that we were kind of in the middle of an interesting conversation. So I have it turned on to public because from the phone I can't stream live members only, which kind of sucks. But the only people that can comment will be members, which is kind of weird too. So,
yeah.
And I'm going to play with this just a minute because we have it on my phone, which is a little harder to get to kickstand. Because my kickstand would be looking at the ceiling. I don't know why the new phone kickstands aren't any better than that, but
yeah. Well, they're meant to watch, not to stream.
Yeah. So anyway, we were in the middle of our members live stream, and I don't know where it went. All of a sudden, it just popped up and said, no connection. So, well, we got Alex back anyway. So the phone call, I will say the phone quality looks way better than the laptop does, but you'll have to keep an eye because all it does is it pops up messages for just a minute and then they disappear.
Okay.
I think to keep us from getting confused. But anyway, what we were talking about, yep, Matthew made it. So what we were talking about is I'm going to try and do this great big hugelkultur project out on the 40 or 20 acres of the 40. So I'm pretty excited about it. Lots to come there. I think it's still too wet over there right now. So I think Dad and I negotiated getting the backhoe down here in late April, I think is what we discussed.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's got to have some hydraulic stuff rebuilt on it before he brings it down. So, interesting stuff. That we've got a lot going on. The other reason we were so worried about the tractor breaking down is it's about time for us to start doing fencing, and I need the auger on the back of the tractor, and I really didn't want to wait until God only knows. They told us about 2 weeks if we ordered, but I don't know who shipped anything lately, but shipping is a nightmare. I had to send some stuff to the former secretary of my Harlequin Club, and shipping is outrageously expensive, and they won't guarantee anything. And that's like FedEx, UPS, and the post office right now. So huge delays in a lot of stuff. So we were a little bit nervous about trying to order part in. So hopefully what Kanan's got for parts will fix the tractor and we'll get back to operational. That would be good because we have a lot to do with it. And it's kind of that time of year where we've had everybody locked in for a good part of the winter as far as the livestock is concerned. So pins are definitely in need of cleaning.
Yeah.
So yeah, on permaculture, I have a couple of books that I'm reading right now on permaculture. The big thing is the big thing of permaculture is trying to find plants that will work here in this environment. In zone 7s and 8s and 9s, it's a lot easier to do permaculture because you have so many more options for plant life that you just don't get here. It's just kind of a pain, really. I've been reading a book called I want to say it's Restoration Forestry or Agriculture. Anyway, it's Mark Shepard, and he does permaculture on a larger scale. So the thing he doesn't like about permaculture is everybody does it on a small scale for small yards and things like that. But he scales it up big enough to actually make an income off of it. And I'm kind of looking at doing more of that kind of thing, like a larger scale permaculture, which is kind of, I think, going to work better for us. But again, it all kind of comes back to trying to find spots. Water's an issue here, really cold winter temperatures, a lot of snow, but then also that really hot desert type summers. So, I don't know that I'm going to make any real permaculture progress this year. I've looked at trying to do some stuff on the 20 acres permaculture wise to try and get the land fixed, if you will, but more usable. And there's no permaculture principles that I can find that will do anything over there. So that's why we've been kind of leaning towards doing the more or less hugelculture type thing over there, because right now it's all about water retention. If I can get water retained and actually get some growth, then there are plants and bushes and things that we can do using permaculture techniques to try and do stuff over there. But right now it's we don't even have the building blocks for permaculture over there. Like, I'd love to, but we just don't even have the building blocks. And so, poor soil is a huge part of it here too. You know, the only things that really grow in our area is sagebrush, bitterbrush, and then, you know, trees. And the trees here are pretty much juniper or pine.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed that last comment.
She said she understands about the water.
Okay. Yeah, water is the biggest problem here in this part of the country. And this is why so many people come to Homestead in Sprague River and end up leaving, because water is such an issue. Not everybody can afford the 10 grand to put in a well, and watering, like, I know a lot of people, because we lived in Mississippi for a while, and you could get away with watering the garden every 2 or 3 days. Here, if you don't water every single day, things die because the water, it just evaporates off. When we get to those single digits for humidity, it's here and gone. It's just kind of it's just kind of the way things work.
Yeah.
But we get better with it every year. So this year, I'm going to be doing more stuff in the garden. I've always overhead watered because we have a series of raised beds, and it's just kind of the way it's worked out best. I'm probably going to be trying to put in collie face. I'm going to be trying to put in more. Either I'm going to put in some irrigation tape, because I'm basically taking all of my garden beds in rows and linking them all together, where they were like a 4x8 box and a 4x12 box and breaks in between. I'm going to build the spots in between and basically make continuous beds so that I can do something different.
No, come here.
Because water is such a big deal. And we're looking, probably next year, the big project will be trying to do some rain barrel type, actually rain cistern type stuff off of the barns. We haven't done that yet because it's kind of a headache. I'm trying to figure out how to put gutters on the barn where it will catch enough water to make it worth it, but not get ripped off in the snow, because we have the tin roofs on the barn. Same thing with my greenhouse. I want to be able to rain barrel off the greenhouse, the Harbor Freight version, but it's the same thing. You know, it's super slick, so as soon as it gets some heat to it, the snow comes flying off. So I've got to be able to do it and not lose my gutters, which is always kind of I talked to my dad about it the other day, and he said, well, you can kind of, snow curls at a certain rate, right? And we can kind of put the gutters down far enough that when the snow curls off, it goes around the gutters, so it doesn't pull the gutters off. But you still have that whole thing of, in a heavy rainstorm, then the rain can come off at such a high velocity that it actually goes over the gutters, and you don't get any of it either. And that's what we get a lot in late spring, is these crazy massive rainstorms that dump a ton of water, and it comes down very hard and very fast. And can you catch enough of it to make it worth it? So we're working on that. Because if you've ever seen and done any of the math on it, you know, the barns that we have are 30 by 32. They will put off a huge amount of water just in a really short amount of time. So for us, water being such a big deal, that's a project probably for another year, right? We've got to... If we did everything that I could possibly want to do, I would need an army of like 20. And then nobody would do it my way anyway. So that's probably a project for next year. this spring is all about trying to get the hugelculture type stuff started on the 20-acre parcel. We don't know. So the whole idea, as far as trying to hold enough water to make a difference, there's no way to do it near the garden to help with the garden watering, which is fine. We're on a well. It's not a big deal. It's a really good well. The big thing is the barn, both the barns actually sit up just a little bit above the pasture around them. So the idea is, see, my dad honestly believes we could put 1,000-gallon cistern on each side of the barn. The one in particular on this side. And he thinks we could catch enough water and snow melt to actually fill those. And I don't know how much we could keep them filled. But the idea was, once we hit about June, July, the pasture that the girls, the female goats, the Nubian goats, run in goes dry. But where we'd have the tanks would be up high enough we could gravity feed out to water that pasture. So it's kind of an idea of, one, we could water the livestock off of it because we are a metal roof. So really you get very few toxins out of it. Not like an asphalt roof or anything that has a ton of toxins that leach into it. But that I could slow gravity feed watering, not probably a huge spot, but at least a couple of acres. And that would cut back on our hay bale tremendously. I mean, goats eat a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, yeah, would it make a difference? I really don't know. I've got to believe it'll make some difference. How much of a difference and how long would it take to make enough difference to pay for itself? I'm still trying to figure that out. And we're in such a weird, we're back in a drought again. So you're trying to work with drought type atmosphere, I guess, is the big thing. So in a regular year, when it's not a drought, would it be enough? It might. In a drought year, is it enough? I don't know. I really don't know. The big thing is we know that we don't get any rain July or August, like ever. So we already know those months are completely dry. It's about trying to catch what we have and seeing. I mean, rainwater is good for the plant life and everything else. So I don't know. And I think that was Anita that asked. I don't know. But I think it's worth trying, if that makes sense. I think it's worth trying, especially in this environment. Giving it a go. I mean, what do we have to lose? If we can gain 2 weeks of pasture, that's quite a bit of hay for us. So I think it's worth a try. I'm a little like I'm not going to set it up on both barns. We'll definitely set it up on the one barn first, and maybe only one side because cistern tanks are expensive. We'll probably set it up on one and just see how it goes. And if it looks like it's worth it and it's doing something, then we'll probably set up on the other side and then look at the other barn. But yeah, I just, the whole thing is just trying to keep the ground moist enough. I'm convinced you can grow anything here with a little work, right? So we grow tomatoes and things that you couldn't normally grow in the greenhouses. And we've gotten better grass around the house, just doing some irrigating with a sprinkler. So I've got to believe if you can get some water to it, you'll keep some better grasses alive. And if we can get better, more nutrient dense grass, then we're going to be better off.
Yeah.
So lots of projects. My stack of books in the living room is dwindling, sort of. But that means I'm getting the more books I read, the bigger projects I want to get into. So, and I keep getting these people who send us messages through the hip camp stuff that are looking for camp work trade stuff. So they want to come camp for a couple weeks and work it off on the farm. And I'm so nervous about this kind of stuff because I think I don't know. Like, I get you're telling me you want to work, but um, is your level of work and my level of work the same level of work? Which
Yeah.
makes me a little nervous.
Well, we talked about it. They want to trade us basically work for staying here. Now, granted, a night stay on one of our campgrounds is like $25. So, I mean, I can tell you how much work I would do on somebody else's farm for $25, and it ain't a whole lot.
Yeah. So
So
it's kind of one of those things.
are you I won't say desperate enough, but are you willing to give me 8 to 10 hours of labor for $25 and sleeping in my hayfield? I don't know, because they never mention food, right? So they're never mentioning food, water. They just want camp accommodation. So
I'm always worried people become squatters.
yeah, we've
I
seen
mean,
that
that's the other
before.
thing. Because going through the hip camp, hip camp covers for all of that. So if we get people who won't leave or damage things or get injured or whatever, they cover all of that. So the idea that I would let somebody come out, because as soon as you do a work trade, you take hip camp out of
it's
it,
out,
right? So
right.
it becomes a private thing then. Yeah, what happens if they won't leave? What happens if Joe runs my tractor into the barn and I'm like, this isn't working? Well, how do I get him to leave? What if he won't leave? That's my
Yeah.
worry. Because we live in a county where the sheriff is they're not real worried about Spirit River.
I mean, we've called the sheriff before, and their thing was, has anybody been shot?
Yes.
And it was, no. Call us when they do.
And that was the time the neighbor had tried to hit us with his truck.
Right.
And yeah, they
Yeah,
weren't
they're
worried.
like, oh, well.
He didn't actually hit us.
He didn't hit you. Oh, he's driving inebriated and trying to hit you with his truck. It's like, yeah. Did he hit you? No. Did he touch you? No. Did he shoot you? No. Call us if they do. And it's like, huh? You're an hour from a hospital anyway. So there's, at that point, it's like, is there imminent death? Yes. Okay. Well, call the coroner first because they're the ones that are going to show up, and then call the sheriff.
Yeah. So I'm having a thought as I'm watching this, and nobody's complaining that it's buffering or having any trouble. So, I'm really thinking that Monday we will try the live stream tomorrow on this phone.
Okay.
Because the picture looks much better to me. I don't know how the audio quality is, but the picture looks way better. The only thing I have to get used to is the fact that comments pop up for a couple seconds, and you got to be on top of it or they go away.
Yeah.
But
well, I can only imagine if you had, comment after comment after comment after comment.
And we do sometimes.
Yeah.
So
you might lose them, but we can try it.
Yeah, Anita says much better.
Okay.
It feels like it's much better. Like it's not giving me any funky messages. I feel like the color is way better. In fact, the color is so good, I noticed I look way more tired than I do on the computer. So I'm going to have to more makeup or more rest or something before we try. I think we will. I think we'll try and live stream with the phone tomorrow instead of the laptop because I just feel like it's working better or looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex says it's all good so far.
Well, then maybe we'll do it with the phone from now on.
I'm starting to think that maybe the problem with the laptop, I mean, obviously Verizon is giving us some trouble this morning because everything's been a little slow. But the laptop may be just trying too hard, sucking too much data, which, for us is really...
Could be.
Tomorrow will be 5:30 in the evening like normal.
Pacific.
We may end up adjusting that as we go. It's hard because we have so many people in the Midwest and the East, but it kills. I'm sure y'all are pretty much like us. It kills me inside a little bit to be in the house when the sun is shining, when I can be out doing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a bigger deal as the weather gets nicer.
Well, you get to August and we are outside at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Because we have just that last little bit of daylight. So we'll come in, we'll eat dinner at like 7.
And then go back out.
And then go back out at 7:30 and get another hour to hour and a half of workout because we can, because there's enough daylight out here.
Well, and it's light until like 7:30 now.
Yeah.
So,
we may adjust that. It's just, it's dependent on, our schedule is pretty flexible since we work from home on all fronts, but it's more like, is somebody on the East Coast willing to start a live stream and watch at midnight if it's 9 o'clock for us?
Yeah. That's way too late.
You know.
So I don't know. We'll see how it goes and kind of adjust as we go through. But we
East Coast here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's already kind of late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't. We don't dare go any earlier either, because if we go earlier, then it's too early for most of our West Coast people. So
Right.
it's kind of a catch-22 type thing. So we'll try and leave it at 5:30. So far, everybody seems good with these Sunday mornings at 10 for the member stuff. So if that's not working for anybody, kick us a message and we'll see if we can adjust. I know we have Celeste who's in South Africa, so everything is hard for her, which I totally understand and respect, because it's just really hard with that kind of time difference to make something that works for everybody. So, but yeah, definitely 5:30 tomorrow for the normal members live stream. And I do have some stuff that we're going to specifically talk about. We actually get to have Kanan this time too. That's why I missed last week's live stream. Because it's early. Because Anita, you're in California too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
she's on our time zone.
Yeah, and it is. It's hard right now because of how nice it still is. But I don't know. We might play with it. We might adjust them here and there and go a little bit later, and then I know that'll be harder for the East Coast people, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. As of right now, tomorrow nights though, we'll still be at 5:30. So if you have questions, for sure, you can always. I know some people can't make the live streams, but if you have questions specifically, Alex, I knew there was we have several members actually in California. So I know Nick's in California too. And then we have,
I think Michael's in Salt Lake City, right?
Yeah. Cindy, is it?
Yeah, she's up in Eugene area.
Yes. Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Or maybe Cindy was in Texas. I don't know, y'all. I get everybody confused. This is just my way of life. Don't take it personal. But yeah, we have some Oregon members in Washington, and Oregon, and Utah, and Texas. So everybody's kind of spread all over the place. But yeah. So anyway, what I was saying is, if you have questions or anything you want to talk about on a live stream, but you're not sure that you're going to make it, but still want to catch us talking about it on the live stream after the fact, you can always email me or kick me a message or whatever at that srhomestead@yahoo email address. I do go through and read that and answer quite a bit of stuff all the time, but because sometimes people ask for stuff on a video and it's either not enough stuff to make a video or it takes a really long time. So you can always kick me a message and I can go through and we can talk about it on the live stream. That's totally cool. Well, y'all, it has been a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody who bared with us with the complete debacle this morning. The link not getting sent out the first time, the Verizon up and dropping us the second time. But I think we're going to try it on the phone going forward. This seems to work pretty well. But as we pointed out, the sun is shining. It looks beautiful. The man's got to go get my tractor fixed so that I can get some work done today. And I'll let everybody get going. I'm sure everybody's feeling the same way. It's beautiful. Get out there, get dirty, get dirty. It's a good day for it. Enjoy some sun, soak up some natural vitamin D.
That's right.
You got anything else?
I don't. I'll make a video on you start rabbit processing videos.
As soon as we have some rabbits big enough. And I do have a couple right now that are getting close. So probably, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'm waiting for them to hit at least that 5-pound mark. And like I said, I sold a ton to my rabbit cold buyers. I sold like 50 rabbits to get them out. But that was everything of size. So I do have a couple. My mom's bugging me about wanting some rabbits for the freezer anyway. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, because I do have two in particular that are getting darn close. They're like 4.5 pounds, so they should hit that 5.5 pound mark here pretty soon. And now that the weather is nice, because we've had 20-mile-an-hour winds here lately, and one, you can't set up a tripod because it blows over, but the audio on the phones, even with the microphone, is so bad you can't hear anything. It just sounds like you're standing in a tornado.
Yeah. So I guess my thinking on those is doing one video on how to build your own butcher stand, how to, what products to buy or how to design it and ergonomics based on it.
And then you'll do an actual...
And then I'll do one on an actual butchering and explain all the little pieces of it and that. And then I think Nikki was going to do one on how to process the rabbit, basically part it out and what you're looking for and that deal.
Yeah. And I know we have some people that are popping in and watching this that are not members, so you're not able to comment. Because that's the only thing I've got to figure out on this phone is how to do a members only. But just for the people who are not members that are popping in and watching, those butchering videos are only going to be available to members. And remember, it's only $2 a month, $1.99 or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not because of the money. It's because of the fact that the amount of negative stuff we get on just the normal rabbit stuff, right? You think it's totally innocent. My rabbit's got a snotty nose. The amount of negative stuff that shows up there, I can only imagine is going to be like 100 times that. On a butchering video.
We try and keep a lot of the negative stuff off the comments because it just brings everybody down. So I do delete a lot of nasty stuff.
Yeah.
We've been called just about every horrible thing you can be called because we raise rabbits for meat. So that's why we're going to keep the butchering videos off. And I'll have some quail to do in a few months, or probably a month. They're getting kind of big. And we'll do a butchering video on the members only stuff again too. Just because the harassment is exhausting.
Yeah.
It really is. And if I get harassed this much just over the basics, I can't even imagine how much harassment we're going to get over butchering videos. So they are going to be on the members only, or for members only. So for what that's worth anyway.
I'm doing that one.
But soon. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, because the goal this year is as soon as rabbits are ready, the rabbits are leaving. Whether they're going to my cold or going to our own freezer or being sold, because we have a ton of people on the waiting list for Americans. They're going to be leaving this year as quickly as possible. It's most cost effective, and I just don't have time.
No, and Cindy just showed up.
Cindy just made it. We're getting ready to log off, Cindy.
So I'll film today fixing the tractor and kind of show you the problem with that. It won't be an exciting. It's just kind of something else. And then I'm working on a video. I've got something started that we have a major problem with our solar that I just figured out 2 weeks ago, a week ago. A week ago.
Some people might remember that we've had some power issues.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kanan's finally figured out exactly
I finally figured out what we did wrong in the beginning, and now, I mean, it's going to hit us hard enough, but I think I'm glad her dad was sitting down when I went and told him the problem, because he just bought new batteries for his storage and all that stuff, and basically he just redid the same problem over, and now we're like, crap, what are we going to do to fix this? But I'll explain it all. It's something really stupid, and but it's going to cost us thousands of dollars to fix, and I'm not even sure of the solution yet. I haven't come up with a solution. That's a different video.
But that's homesteading, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you do stuff and you're like, I really screwed this up.
Yeah. So I got to do a video to kind of explain the little detail that's killing us, that's just going to cost us thousands and thousands of dollars to fix. And it was just such a simple detail we overlooked.
Yeah. Which, because of that, then we'll start working. I think it was Cindy that asked about the whole solar, setting up a solar system to run like a fan and some lights.
Yeah, and I'll work on that too.
He's kind of working on that. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do what I wanted to do in the the bird buildings. And then we have another cool project later this year if the parts all work. I got talking to my dad. So we've got in the chicken house, we've actually got 9 separate pins that will all have their own runouts this year. And what I want to be able to do is open all the doors simultaneously. So because we have to, because of bobcats and everything else, we have to lock everybody in at night.
Mm-hmm.
Dad's got some old solar or dish actuator deals that used to move the great big dishes. So we think that we've got an idea. And again, Dad thinks he can run it off with some batteries. So we'll set up a solar thing for it. But we think we can use these actuators to actually pull strings or wires on pulleys and actually open and close all of the doors at once, which will be pretty rad. He's excited. Dad's pretty much retired, and so
he's looking for stuff to do is what it works.
We got to keep the man busy because
Yeah.
otherwise when he's not busy enough, he starts talking about moving.
Again.
And, yeah, we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
My parents have always been kind of nomads. They don't stay anywhere for more than like 3 or 4 years. So let's see.
Yes. She's acting pregnant, doesn't look it? Absolutely.
I'm having that same. The bigger the rabbits, the more often that happens too. I have 2 Americans that are due this next week, and they don't look pregnant, but they're showing all the signs. One's pulling fur right now already. One is off of her feed, and you can just tell. Like they don't look. I'm assuming what's happened is they're either carrying really high. Or that's okay, Cindy. They're either carrying really high or there's not a very big litter is usually what happens when they don't really look it. Like I've got one doe right now and I swear she must have like an entire football team in there. She's huge. And knowing my luck, she's going to drop like 4. But a lot of times in your bigger does, if they don't look all that pregnant, they're either carrying very, very, very high or there's just not very many of them. But yeah, it happens a lot because the one doe in particular that is pulling fur from me already, I've been trying to get this doe rebred for a year. And apparently she really is digging the new bucks because it's the first time that I've seen her lift. And she's like a 13.5-pound American. She's absolutely ginormous. And in her first litter, she had 10 in her first litter and never looked pregnant. She was so big. She's just a big-bodied doe. And her daughters do the same thing. And I figured out that they just carry... I had a girlfriend over a week before they were ready, and she palpates. And she got in there, and she's like, there's no way this doe is pregnant. And then the one in particular dropped like 9. And we figured out that they're carrying them so high up you can't find them, which is... good and bad. It's not good if you palpate. I don't really palpate, but yeah, it's kind of a good and a bad thing for sure. But yeah, if she's acting pregnant, if you're seeing all the signs, she probably is. It may not be a very big litter, but she's probably in a family way, as they used to say, right? In a family way. So, all right. Well, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So we will catch everybody tomorrow, 5:30 Pacific. Same as always. Like I said, if you have questions and can't make it that you still want us to answer or talk about, just kick me an email over at srhomestead@yahoo.com, and I'll make sure to check those tomorrow afternoon before we live stream them.
Or Facebook on our page, Instagram.
I'm terrible. He gets the Instagram.
I get all the notifications,
and then I don't get them. So. This new phone is better about the Facebook notifications.
Yeah, so I'll at least see it. So if you guys message us or comment on anything or anything else, we can include that. And then Nikki's got some stuff she wants to talk about tomorrow. I'll probably just hang out and answer comments or
keep an eye on my feed.
That's right. I'm kind of the sub guy here, but I need to go take a shower and go get a tractor running.
Yes, he needs to get my tractor running.
So I'll explain that. I'll do a video maybe probably for next Saturday. That would be my Saturday videos, fixing the tractor and kind of explaining.
Yeah, I have a fun-filled day of manure shoveling in my future.
That's right.
Get my pitchfork and arms out.
That's right.
And no, people are always sending us messages and saying, we want to see more Homestead. Look, love y'all dearly. You are not going to see any videos of me pitchforking manure. Sorry. I like to get in my zone and I'm not a very good singer, and I'm out there singing Bee Gees and stuff, and nobody wants. We're not going to see that. You're just not going to get to see that.
America's worst talent. We could. That's
me. He can actually sing, not me. I couldn't carry a note if you physically handed it to me. It just doesn't work. And I get my really bad Saturday Night Live kind of dance moves, and I can't dance either. I have all the coordination of a penguin, so it doesn't work real well. Oh, well. But yeah. So happy Sunday, everybody. Thanks for popping in. I know some of you aren't necessarily members, but thank you everybody who popped in.
Yep.
Thank you to our members for popping in on your members thing and sticking with us through all the technical detail. You can tell that we're homesteaders and not full-time YouTubers because we're terrible. We just are. All right, everybody. See you next time. Happy homesteading. Happy Sunday. And
we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. Bye. Gotta see that. That